before humans fully understood the power of this predator. Before science could explain the brutal order of the savanna, there already existed a world where power was decided through every battle. Across the vast grasslands of Africa, lions do not only hunt, they also face enemies, defend their territory, and fight to maintain their position at the top of the food chain. A battlefield of strength, brutality, and no mercy. The African lion. Welcome to African Lions, the most brutal battles on the savannah. Please give us a like and subscribe to the channel to motivate us to create more quality content. Don't forget to leave your comments below so we can discuss together. Let's begin. At the peak of the dry season, the sun scorches everything in its path and temperatures exceed 40 degrees Celsius. Water evaporates 3 times faster than rain falls. But lions are not the only ones who come down here to drink. It is a mercy full of pride. In the savannah, the inexperienced are the loser. But children's games end here. Life in the savannah begins to claim its debts, and the mother lioness is not always merciful. She must hunt tirelessly to feed her cubs. The name of the unfortunate one, this time, belongs to a Nyala antelope, a creature that usually prefers shelter in the shade of low forests. The attack breaks out. In the midst of panic, the victim runs toward the only escape route, but it proves to be a fatal mistake. Beneath the water's surface, as still as a mirror, lies the territory of ancient armored killing machines. The sensors along its jaw allow the Nile crocodile to capture every vibration of the chaos. At the instant when death brandishes its scythe, the antelope escapes a 1,000-kilogram bite in a brief breath. But the nightmare is not over. However, the nature of the Nyala has changed. Extreme terror has been transformed into pure ferocity. 10 minutes of struggling. That is the final limit for both. The lioness finally decides to back down. She realizes that a meal is not worth the risk of a fatal wound that could end her reign. In the savannah, there is no life that is not paid for with sacrifice. To the north, the Okavango emerges in the heart of the Kalahari Basin, originating from storms in the remote highlands of Angola. The water makes a journey of more than 1,000 kilometers over 4 long months. When it flows into Botswana with 11 trillion liters of water, it erases 15,000 square kilometers of dust to give birth to a resplendent paradise. It is a paradoxical madness of nature. The peak of the Okavango flood occurs precisely in the midst of the most burning thirst of the vast Kalahari land. That cruel twist of fate has molded the golden-maned warriors, those capable of hunting in the middle of the current. A different instinct, rarely seen anywhere else on the planet. And when the border between the shore and the water disappears, the hunter and the prey are pushed into irreversible duels to the death. The dry season has swept the green from the surface, leaving only roots and tubers buried deep. Unlike other herbivores that only graze on the surface, the warthog exploits these underground treasures thanks to its short neck joints, equipped with an extremely strong muscular system. Warthogs have developed thick and hard calluses on the joints of their front legs. They can kneel for hours to graze on the short grass rich in minerals, or excavate the succulent root system beneath the dry mud. But that concentration is paid for with a loss of vigilance. The lioness is extremely cautious, for she knows her target is not easy. Through a self-sharpening mechanism, the warthog's tusks are forged as sharp defense tools. The queen of the savanna is wary of those teeth, but she still underestimates the agility of a coarse-looking prey. Within that compact muscle mass, fast-twitch muscle fibers generate an acceleration of 48 kilometers per hour. The prey inverts its center of gravity and deceives the predator's navigation system in just a few hundredths of a second. In the face of the successive failures of its kin, in another corner of the migration, the male lion chooses a much bolder strategy by putting the wildebeest in his sights. In April, the savanna bustles with the rutting season, where the most primitive instincts erupt with force even in the middle of the journey. The wildebeest's survival strategy is the dilution effect. It uses the colossal mass of the herd and incessant movement as a steel shield against killers. However, at a certain point, the flow of life is forced to narrow. The bend of the San River is a perfect geological trap. And the unfortunate wildebeest is the sacrifice to feed the prosperity of a dynasty. Here, life is a bloody gamble, where the only winner is the one who dares to wager their own existence on a leap of fate. The Cape buffalo is the master of southern and eastern Africa, dominating with a muscle mass of up to 900 kilograms. To maintain that colossal volume, they are forced to drink 30 to 40 liters of water a day and rarely stray more than 15 kilometers from rivers. The layer of mud that covers its body is smart armor that helps regulate temperature under the 40-degree heat. It is at the same time a chemical barrier against parasites. But today, the most fearsome parasite is not an insect, but a pride of 9 hungry lions. However, they have forgotten who they are facing. Endurance is the buffalo's strongest defensive weapon. For 4 long hours, the solitary giant gradually drags the predators to the center of a lake. The physical laws of the battle change completely. Underwater, the lion's speed advantage is nullified by buoyancy, and they are easily subdued by the lightning-fast counterattack of the prey. However, The buffalo's strength has never come from an isolated individual. It is strengthened through an extremely organized community, grouping in gigantic herds of up to thousands of heads. To decide the direction of the group's movement, the adult females hold a vote. From a scientific perspective, the final direction of the herd is the result of the vector length. It is a biological calculation based on the consensus of the majority. When the hooves of the immense buffalo herd touch southwestern Kenya, the kingdom of Masai Mara receives them with absolute silence. Within the unified structure of the herd, there are small clans of mothers and calves that sometimes separate to graze. This unintentionally creates opportunities for tragedy. A vulnerable calf resting under its mother's shadow is the perfect target, taking advantage of the headwind to neutralize body odor. The predators deploy a classic pincer attack. The attack is specifically designed to separate and isolate the mother from the calf. The mother falls into the trap of numerical superiority, forced to choose between her own safety and her calf. The little one teeters on the line between life and death. The appearance of the male lion deals the final blow. It is painful, but it is the cruel and inevitable heartbeat of this land. However, the Savanna is never the stage for one-sided battles. Sometimes, the prey rewrites the rules of the game. The call for help activates collective protection behavior. In most cases, group coordination and the kinetic energy advantage of hundreds of tons always overcome solitary claws. The buffalo possesses an amazing long-term memory and the most persistent instinct for revenge. They are capable of identifying and remembering the predator that attacked them to set up retaliatory ambushes, even after a long time. Lion against buffalo, the strongest predator against the most aggressive prey. Their eternal war is a testimony to the fragile balance of nature. It is a reminder that only the survival instinct and unity represent true power in the Savanna. At the southern limit of Kruger National Park, when tropical storms from the Indian Ocean make landfall, rainfall can reach 200 millimeters in a few hours. The level of the Crocodile River can suddenly rise more than 5 meters. The border between power and destruction is as thin as the flick of a tail. The young lion, with his incipient mane and defined muscles, is about to make the biggest mistake of his life. The animal lacks the cunning accumulated through flood seasons. This is the sanctuary of the hippopotamus. Irascible giants with an extreme territorial instinct. The young lion finds himself surrounded in an environment he cannot dominate. There are almost 30 giants lurking beneath the surface, showing their tusks. In a desperate effort, the lion is forced to jump into the deepest part of the river. a true race against death. In the aquatic domain of this giant herbivore, a king of the land can become a miserable being. Evolutionarily, the hippopotamus is the closest living relative of whales. They share a common ancestor from about 55 million years ago. Although the adaptation to the aquatic environment occurred independently, both possess smooth, almost hairless skin and completely lack sebaceous glands. The male possesses ivory tusks that can measure up to 51 centimeters. To exhibit their strength and threaten rivals, they can perform the yawning behavior with an angle of up to 150 degrees. Despite being a herbivore with a clumsy appearance, the hippopotamus is the species that causes the most human deaths. They are willing to crush any intruder who ruins their nap, whether it be a buffalo fortress or a pride of arrogant life. Let's return to the south. There, the heart of Kruger National Park in South Africa nurtures intense pulses. When the grass withers and the thickets die, the predator's veil of ambush is completely torn away. The laws of the savanna are being rewritten with mass and wisdom. This is the era of mega-herbivores, under the roaring Colosseum of Kruger. The birth of a new life is as cruel as extinction itself. The mother giraffe invests 15 months in gestation. However, the calf only has a few minutes to stand up after falling sharply to the ground from a height of nearly 2 meters. A life of 25 years awaits this newborn, 1.8 meters tall and weighing nearly 70 kilograms. But first, it must survive today. With only 2 weeks of life, this fragile existence has already fallen under the gaze of those who know no compassion. With a speed of 56 kilometers per hour and rear kicks of destructive power, the mother giraffe does everything possible to protect her calf. She attempts to nullify the hunting intentions of the lion pride. However, these lionesses are also mothers who need to feed their own. A weight of over a ton serves as a base for a height that borders on 5.8 meters, of which the iconic long neck occupies 2 meters. Despite this, the giraffe's neck only has 7 vertebrae. This creates an incessant burden for the circulatory system. It also limits their flexibility against predators. But not all giants are hindered by their own size. In the savanna, there are wise herbivore kings, those who use their weight as a survival advantage. The African elephant is the largest land animal in the world, a biological fortress that weighs up to 6 tons, measures more than 3 meters in height, and exceeds 7 meters. Its majestic silhouette can eclipse both the claws and the tusks of the kings of the savanna. But the elephant's strength lies not only in muscle, but in the memories transmitted. They live in herds with social structures built on the basis of cohesion and ancestral wisdom. At the head of this group is the matriarch, the oldest and most experienced female. In her mind, she keeps the maps that lead to secret water sources in the midst of devastating droughts. She also keeps the codes to identify enemies from a distance. She coordinates the entire herd through infrasound. These are low-frequency sound waves below the human hearing threshold that can be transmitted for kilometers. In the Colosseum of the Savanna, the safety of the next generation is supreme. A mother elephant guides her treasure, a vulnerable calf. But a rhinoceros appears as an intruder, famous for its poor vision, but with a stubborn temperament. It makes a fatal mistake. A blast of compressed air from the giant lungs, expelled through the laryngeal folds and amplified along the trunk, generates a bellow of up to 117 decibels. This produces a direct physical impact on the rhinoceros's eardrums and sensitive nervous. The giant forces the intruder to retreat before an actual physical collision occurs. A costly lesson. The rhinoceros's 2 tons of muscle are not a threat before the protective instinct of a mother elephant. In the shadows of the savanna, the border between predator and prey can be inverted in a single breath. A lion cub has lost 2 siblings, becoming a wounded pariah in a land that has never but its ancestral enemy has followed every trail of blood. The young solitary king faces a life or death threat. Like the rhinoceros, the elephant possesses fairly limited vision, so it seems not to notice the small lion lying motionless. On the contrary, its acute sense of hearing has enraged the giant herbivore at the roar of the hyenas. The African elephant becomes an unwitting savior. However, before the prides of lions specializing in hunting elephants in Chobe, an elephant calf rarely escapes the circle of death. This occurs despite the struggling and protective efforts of a desperate mother. The mother carries a pain amplified by an extremely sensitive limbic system, continuing the battle to protect the already cold body of her calf. It is a demonstration of respect for the lineage. It is a testament that, in the wild kingdom, death is never the end of a presence. According to you, what makes the elephant great? Its brain capable of remembering for millennia, or the family ties willing to sacrifice for one another. A vast arid continent that extends across 11 countries, occupying more than 9 million square kilometers. It is an area equivalent to the entire European continent. In this, the hottest desert on the planet, temperatures can fluctuate up to 50 degrees Celsius during the day. These fall precipitously below freezing. This extreme difference generates powerful convection air currents, giving rise to the harmattan wind. These gusts of dry dust are capable of hiding the sun and completely transforming the landscape in a few hours. Despite the hostile conditions, the Sahara ecosystem sustains 500 species of plants and nearly 300 species of animals. These creatures possess extraordinary adaptation. The journey of the dromedary is closely linked to the history of these ships of the desert. They are the only means that allowed tribes to connect civilizations across the continent of sand. The dromedary can survive even while losing more than 30% of its body weight. It is a threshold that would kill any other living being. The single hump on its back is an immense storehouse of white fat. When food is exhausted, its body begins to break down this fat into energy. This process simultaneously releases endogenous water to hydrate itself from the interior of its own cells. Thanks to this, upon finding a water source, the dromedary can drink 110 litres in just 10 minutes. To avoid osmotic shock, its red blood cells have the ability to expand up to 400%. Its prominent eyes, with long lashes and a transparent third eyelid, form a shield against sandstorms. Its slit-shaped nostrils can be opened and closed with flexibility. This allows them to recover water vapor from their own breath through a system of folded. The addax antelope is known as the ghost of the Sahara. Currently fewer than 500 remaining individuals in the wild. In summer, they cover themselves with white or pale yellow armor. This turns their entire body into a mirror that reflects thermal radiation. They only truly come to life when the mantle of night falls. Meanwhile, the scimitar oryx is now writing its own destiny. This species was once declared extinct in the wild due to poaching and devastating droughts. Thanks to conservation efforts in Chad, Tunisia, and Senegal, nearly 160 adult individuals are beginning to reconquer their kingdom. They can march continuously through the most arid lands without needing to drink water. They achieve it thanks to their ability to extract every molecule of moisture from their food. Their diet is composed of tough grasses and dry herbs. These plants function as their own water reservoirs. When the daytime heat dissipates and the Sahara begins the freezing breath of darkness, another iconic creature emerges. The fennec fox is the smallest member of the canid family. It possesses gigantic ears that occupy up to 20% of its body surface. It is a dual radar system that at the same time acts as a heat outlet. This system is capable of detecting micro vibrations of prey under the deep layers of sand. Under their paws, they possess natural hair shoes to avoid burns from the hot sand. In the Sahara food chain, the fennec fox occupies the position of secondary consumer. They are hunters of mice and lizards, but they must always stay alert before larger predators. The Sahara cheetah is also known as the Northwest African cheetah. This is the rarest and most mysterious subspecies in its family. They have become extinct in more than 20 countries, and currently fewer than 250 adult individuals remain. As an alpha predator, it obtains all the required amount of water through the hydration mechanism of its prey. This allows it to subsist for weeks without seeking a source of liquid water. Unlike its relatives, the Sahara cheetah chooses to hunt at night to avoid heat exhaustion. Its menu is a varied survival list. When hunger reaches its peak, even a giant dromedary can become its target. The North African ostrich is also one of the most difficult targets for the cheetah. This giant can run at a speed of 70 kilometers per hour in long distances and possesses kicks capable of ending the pursuit of any predator. The North African ostrich operates a superior temperature management system. It contracts special muscle groups to ruffle its plumage, creating openings for air to circulate and directly cool the skin surface. It can march continuously for many days without a drop of water, turning the severity of the environment into a life habit. Once it wandered freely through 18 countries, but today its kingdom has been reduced to only 6 scarce territories. Poaching and illegal egg collection have pushed this great bird into Appendix 1 of CITES. In the center of the most inclement desert, the West African crocodile survives in rocky crevices and isolated oases. Molecular genetic analysis shows that they are completely separate from their larger relatives, the Nile crocodiles. When the Sahara gradually transformed into a giant furnace 5,000 years ago, these individuals were trapped. To survive in this extreme environment, they reduced their body size, generally measuring only 1.5 to 2 meters. They did so to adapt to the limited resources in the water pools called gueltas. Being cold-blooded animals, they spend the day alternating between exposure to the scorching sun and refuge in the shade to regulate their body temperature. Contrary to the hibernation of bears, they have evolved an extreme survival behavior: estivation. These crocodiles bury themselves under dry mud or hide in cool caves. They reduce their heart rate and metabolic rate to the minimum, waiting for rare rains to revive their kingdom. Far from the isolated oases and the canyons that hide the sacred crocodile, the Sahara expands toward the regions of stony plains and the Sahel border. This is a fragile ecological belt where devastating heat begins to give way to thorny thickets and yellowish grasslands. And it is there that complex social structures begin to emerge in the symphony of survival. The Anubis baboon possesses an appearance that recalls the guide god of souls from ancient Egypt. When the Sahara becomes exhausted, the intelligence of this primate allows it to manage with any remaining source of nutrition. Their diet ranges from fruit seeds and fungi to the active hunting of insects and small mammals. When the flat terrain yields to the steep, rugged cliffs of the Atlas mountain range, control of the sandstone kingdom belongs to another species. This is the Barbary sheep, or Aoudad. Their powerful curved horns, which can reach 80 centimeters in length, are not only a symbol of strength in fierce territorial disputes, but also an essential tool for surviving in extreme conditions. They take advantage of succulent cacti to extract every molecule of moisture through intracellular metabolism. They can endure without drinking water directly for up to 5 days. They do so thanks to a renal system capable of concentrating urine to the maximum, and the ability to tolerate dehydration of up to 20% of their body weight. The existence of the Odad is intimately linked to the long history of mountain tribes like the Berbers. For them, the Barbary sheep is a symbol of resilience and freedom. In the heart of the Adrar Plateau in Mauritania, a gigantic eye 50 kilometers in diameter gazes fixedly toward the stars. It is the Risha structure, or the Eye of the Sahara. Many believe that these are the actual ruins of Atlantis, the golden city that disappeared from the map of humanity. Despite the dry explanations about erosion, the coincidence between Richaud and Plato's records in his work Dialogues is enough to spark astonishment. Plato described Atlantis as a city composed of concentric rings alternated between land and water. About 700 kilometers to the north lies the Atlas mountain range. History records that the first king of this land was named Atlas, coinciding exactly with the name of the first king of Atlantis. Even the oldest maps place the vestiges of the Atlanteans exactly at the coordinates of present-day Mauritania. Seashell fossils and whale bones found in the middle of the desert are striking evidence that this place once belonged to the ocean. They reinforce the belief in an era of Atlantean splendor before the Sahara hell devoured everything. But the truth is usually colder than legends. Modern academics still pose a great question. If Atlantis really sank into the sea in only one day and one night, how can it be at an altitude of 400 meters and 500 kilometers from the coast as it is today? Many believe that Plato's city should have been located in front of the Pillars of Hercules and not buried in the interior of the continent. In your opinion, what is the most logical explanation for these coincidences? And did Atlantis really exist? Leave your opinion in the comments. On the eastern limit of the Great Desert, the Red Sea presents itself as a vibrant marine region, but also extremely rigorous. It is one of the saltiest and warmest bodies of water on the planet, with an average salinity that exceeds 40 parts per thousand due to the very high evaporation rate and the absence. There is an interesting fact. The high salinity of the Red Sea is, in reality, an advantage for divers, as it increases buoyancy, allowing the body to float with greater ease. The history of these waters is intimately linked to the maritime Silk Road and ancient Egyptian ports. The Red Sea is an open wound in the Earth's crust, an extension of the Great Rift Valley, where the African plate and the Arabian plate began to separate tens of millions. This process of tectonic expansion continues to this day. In the abyssal depths, hydrothermal vents constantly emit heat from the interior of the Earth toward the cold currents, creating a fantastic and dramatic ecosystem. Geographical isolation through millions of years has turned the Red Sea into an independent evolutionary forge. Here, between 10% and 20% of the more than 1,200 species of fish are endemic residents. More than 1,000 species of invertebrates inhabit the coral reefs. It is the sanctuary of the nudibranchs, with more than 175 The rocky crevices are the domain of cuttlefish, octopuses, and crustaceans. Among them, the Pteria aegyptiaca, or the panther cowrie, are endemic species capable of tolerating extreme salinities, transforming chemical severity into an advantage of dominance. The shallow coral reef system is home to a massive army of fish. It is here that the reef species display a feast of splendid colours. They range from the Red Sea clownfish, hidden among venomous tentacles, to butterflyfish, angelfish, surgeonfish, and the carpenters of the ocean, the parrotfish. In that dynamic world, the Pseudochromis fridmani, the blue-cheeked butterflyfish, and the masked pufferfish are prominent. But this is also the refuge for masters of camouflage and toxins. The lionfish with its magnificent but venomous rayed fins. The stonefish blends perfectly with the reef like an invisible rock next to giant moray eels, always ready to launch a lightning bite. And on the fine sand, the leopard electric ray keeps its high-voltage current charged, turning its body into the most modern defense and hunting weapon. The Samadeh Reef is known as the home of the dolphins in Egypt. Here resides the spinner dolphin, which stands out for its ability to jump up to 3 meters out of the water and perform turns on its axis of up to 7 rotations. Scientists believe that these extreme acrobatics generate a great force of impact upon contact with the water, which helps them eliminate parasites and layers of dead skin. More importantly, the sound of these impacts creates characteristic acoustic signals that function as an internal communication system. In a strange combination of nature, spinner dolphins are often seen performing bow-riding behavior, but not in front of the bow of human ships, but just in front of the head of gigantic, taking advantage of the high-pressure zone and the bow wave created by the colossal mass of the largest fish in the world. These cunning dolphins travel placidly, sliding on that wave. The Red Sea is ruled by an imposing force of more than 44 different species of sharks. Among the killers of the sea, the whale shark is the gentle giant. Being the largest fish in the world, it reaches a length of 18 meters and weighs up to 20 tons. To maintain its colossal body mass in a nutrient-poor environment, the whale shark performs deep dives toward the mesopelagic zone. There, the water temperature drops drastically to slow its metabolism and save energy before returning to the surface to warm its body. The heat of the Sahara falling on the waters of the Red Sea is the trigger. When the surface temperature increases in summer, it stimulates the bloom of phytoplankton, the moment in which the whale shark appears. As a typical filter feeder, it uses the suction or ram filter. With its mouth up to 1.5 meters wide, it filters more than 6,000 liters of water per hour through 20 specialized filter plates. These net-like structures retain the plankton, small crustaceans, and fry of barely a few millimeters, while expelling excess water through the gigantic. However, when the water temperature begins to drop in the cooler months, the era of the hammerhead shark begins on the reef crests of the Strait of Tiran. At the head of this lineage is the great oceanic hammerhead shark. Its characteristic hammer-shaped head acts like an airplane wing, generating lift and allowing it to perform extremely fast turns with absolute precision. More importantly, this flat head expands its vision up to 360 degrees, allowing it to observe above and below simultaneously. But its true weapon resides in the vast surface that houses thousands of pores of the ampullae of Lorenzini. This electromagnetic sensor system allows the hammerhead shark to detect the electrical impulses of even the weakest heartbeats of its prey. Although they are solitary hunters, in moments of seasonal transition, they establish mysterious social structures under the guidance of the Earth's. In the austerity of the Sahara, sometimes scarcity is a privilege. The absence of rivers that pour fresh water or sediment into the Red Sea has allowed sunlight to provide energy to a colossal strip of fringing reefs that extends for more than 2. This strip is home to more than 340 species of hard corals and 200 of soft corals. In particular, the northern reefs can withstand temperature increases of up to 5 degrees Celsius without suffering bleaching. This converts the Red Sea into an invaluable thermal refuge, preserving the last hope for the global survival of corals before the storm of climate change. Meanwhile, in the deep abysses near underwater volcanoes, there are brine pools that reach 60 degrees Celsius, where oxygen. Even so, extremophile microorganisms persist with resilience. Without the need for light, they operate sophisticated chemical machineries to fix carbon, metabolize iron, manganese, and even detoxify. They are solitary travelers in the most metal-rich and nutrient-poor environment of the ocean, acting as vital links in the planet's elemental cycles. From the top of the reef to the confines of absolute darkness, life has never surrendered. It has simply found a new language for existence. Along the coasts of Egypt and Sudan, mangroves are the kidneys of the ocean. This is an ecosystem with an average salinity that exceeds 41 parts per thousand, the highest level in the open seas of. Under conditions where the sediment totally lacks oxygen, respiratory roots that grow vertically out of the mud allow the tree to absorb oxygen directly from the air. Through a sophisticated ultrafiltration mechanism in the root system, They can block up to 90% of the salt from seawater before it penetrates the tree's tissues. Under the canopy, the shallow waters are the domain of nearly 100 species of algae. These intertwine with colonies of cyanobacteria, the oldest organisms on the planet, which cling to the roots and the muddy. They silently fulfill the mission of fixing nitrogen and nourishing the entire coastal ecosystem. The dense root system of the mangroves is home to the mudskipper, the strangest fish in the world, with the ability to breathe air and move over land like an amphibian. Under their fins, a massive army of crustaceans works tirelessly excavating the soil. All this creates a frenetic pace of life over the black mud. While crustaceans toil beneath the mud, the skies above belong to the proudest travelers. The white-eyed gull is a bird almost entirely endemic to the Red Sea. These birds of immense conservation value choose mangrove forests and pristine islands as sanctuaries to perpetuate their lineage. They make this place one of the most important points of origin for life in the region. But herons are the true masters of this place, where the boundary between land and sea blurs with the tide. Among them, the Goliath heron is the largest heron on the planet. They take advantage of low mangrove bushes to build fortified nests. These are true fortresses in the midst of saltwater, protected from land predators like the golden jackal. Even more astonishing is the dimorphic egret. In an environment where the UV index reaches dangerous levels, they endure exposure to the scorching sun, using their bodies and wings as shade to cool their eggs. This action prevents the embryo from being cooked inside. Living where fresh water is an absolute luxury, the dimorphic egret has evolved a salt gland mechanism above the eye socket. It actively separates and excretes excess salt from the blood through an active transport mechanism. Then the salt is expelled through the nostrils as concentrated droplets. Thanks to this, they can directly drink seawater with a salinity higher than 40/1000. They can hunt salt-saturated prey among the root systems without fear of devastating cellular dehydration. Hidden among the coastal mangrove bushes is the striated heron, nicknamed the mangrove heron. Thanks to its clever camouflage, it shares this rigorous territory with the collared kingfisher. This is a specialized subspecies found only within the mangroves. Instead of traditional freshwater streams, they choose the hollows of ancient mangrove trees for nesting and dive into the intricate root system to hunt crabs and crustaceans. And when the monsoons shift direction, the mangrove transforms into a vital green corridor where more than 2 million souls on their migratory route return each year. Grey herons, great egrets and purple herons take advantage of the abundance of crustaceans and small fish beneath the roots. They do this to refuel for the next leg of their journey. It is a process of biological refueling at breakneck speed. The nutrients laboriously extracted from the Red Sea are converted into layers of reserve fat. These provide the necessary power for wings preparing to cross the planet's harshest geographical barriers. But it is not just waterbirds that return to this corridor. Migratory soaring birds, predators that master thermal currents, also choose the mangrove as a staging point. Steppe eagles and spotted eagles hide among the mangrove canopies to observe every movement below. They stop to rest to avoid the devastating Sahara sandstorms and to wait for the perfect moment for their final takeoff to the south. Since the time of the pharaohs, inhabitants of the Red Sea region have considered these forests the soul of the coast. With a stored carbon density 4 times higher than that of terrestrial tropical forests, mangroves are invaluable blue carbon storehouses. They protect fringing reefs from sediment encroachment from the land. Their complex interlocking root system creates a hydrodynamic labyrinth that reduces the energy of fierce storm waves by up to 70%. This is the ocean's nursery, where the larvae of economically valuable species find absolute protection from enemies. However, the rapid development of tourist resorts is putting pressure on these green fortresses, creating a silent conflict between economic interests and ecological stability. Beneath the calm waters of the back reef zone, between ancient port cities and the pristine bays of Egypt, seagrass meadows stretch across the shallows. They are found at depths of no more than 20 meters, where light is still strong enough to nourish one of the planet's most productive ecosystems. Seagrass is the only entity among flowering plants that dared to leave the land to perform a reverse migration back to the ocean. Unlike algae, which only cling to rocks, seagrass possesses true rhizomes and roots that grow with extreme vigor. This system intertwines tightly beneath the sediment, forming a biological structure that anchors the sandy floor, prevents erosion, and filters suspended particles. This explains why the back reef zone always maintains perfect clarity, allowing photosynthetic performance to reach its peak. This converts these meadows into massive carbon sinks with an absorption capacity 35 times higher than that of a tropical forest of the same area. In this green labyrinth, every creature is a master of adaptation. Here, the black-striped pipefish has evolved a specialized tail to anchor itself firmly to the grass blades. Beneath their fins, the sandy floor is the domain of echinoderms, from lethargic sea cucumbers to colonies of sea urchins. However, that stillness is soon disrupted when the ghosts of the ocean appear. In the Elphinstone region, the underwater sky belongs to the reef manta ray, with a giant wingspan that can reach 7 meters. Below, just above the sandy floor, another chase is taking place. By continuously beating its flexible fins near the bottom, the eagle ray creates water vortices to unearth clams and snails hidden in the sediment. Meanwhile, stingrays choose ambush tactics, burying themselves completely beneath the fine sand in shallow waters. They leave only their vigilant eyes exposed to watch for enemies. In a kingdom where energy is an absolute luxury, seagrass meadows represent an unforgiving challenge. Very few animals possess the patience required to directly consume these leathery leaves due to their extremely high cellulose content. This is a biological barrier that most digestive systems cannot overcome. However, in the Red Sea, there are always grand exceptions that defy all rules. The dugong is the only mammal here whose diet depends entirely on seagrass meadows. It possesses a specialized horseshoe-shaped snout and the power of extremely muscular lips. Alongside these giant dugongs, the green turtle is also found. Dugongs do not just eat the leaves, they unearth the entire system of nutrient-rich rhizomes beneath the sand. These transoceanic travelers have existed since the age of dinosaurs. After surviving their first year of life, a period fraught with danger in the open sea that requires an omnivorous diet for fast growth, these turtles become pure herbivores. They reach a body length of 1.5 meters and a weight of up to 200 kilograms. The green turtle spends hours grazing upon the fresh seagrass meadows. They possess a specialized gut microbiota in their large intestine that drives fermentation to break down the tough structure of cellulose. This allows them to convert fiber into a steady source of energy for their transcontinental migrations. Here, peaceful coexistence is based on a golden rule niche specialization. While the green turtle monopolizes the seagrass, its relative the hawksbill turtle chooses a different battlefield. It ventures deep into the cavities of coral reefs to hunt sea sponges. This is a high-risk biological gamble, as sponges are filled with sharp silica spicules and chemical toxins. However, the hawksbill turtle has evolved an extremely thick digestive tract, lining to turn this dangerous food source into its own exclusive privilege. The Red Sea is also the meeting point for 5 major sea turtle lineages. Among them are the loggerhead turtle with extremely strong jaws, capable of crushing mollusk shells, and the timid olive ridley turtle. There is also the uncrowned king of the open ocean, the leatherback turtle. Unlike its hard-shelled relatives, the leatherback possesses a tough, flexible skin that allows it to dive up to 1,000 meters to hunt jellyfish. It defies the colossal pressure and freezing temperatures of the abyss. However, the fate of these ancient creatures hangs by a thread due to human intervention. Each year, from May to September, females begin their instinctive journey, crawling across the burning sands of the Sahara border to lay their eggs. This is where the temperature-dependent sex determination mechanism begins to operate. The higher the sand temperature, the greater the proportion of females born. Global warming is causing a serious gender imbalance. This threatens to destroy natural reproductive capacity.